I'm not really sure when this show is going to air, but I was going to talk about some of the conferences I'll be going to in the next few weeks. Of course, if, as we're expecting, these will go into reruns, the dates will have long passed anyway. But Halloween, this is the year 2005, the weekend of Halloween, I'll be speaking in Dayton, Ohio. They're having the Wisdom Quest conference there, and I'll be speaking there on Sunday. Now, some of these conferences, if you want more details on them, you can go on our website, and I believe there's going to be a link to logins to our website, and you click on schedules, you'll be able to see all the places I'm going to be and the different schedules. But after the one in Dayton at Halloween, the next weekend, which is the first weekend in November, it's going to be the 5th and the 6th, I will be at Minneapolis at Big Expo there, the Edge Expo in Minneapolis, and I'll be speaking there. Both of these places, I'm going to be speaking about the New Earth. Eventually, as we do these shows, I'll be speaking about all of these different types of information that are contained in the book. Right now, because the Convoluted Universe Book 2 has come out, this is the subject they want me to speak at the different lectures. But that will be the next 2 weeks going into November. Then the week after that, I'm going overseas again. I do a lot of work out of the country now. It seems like I'm on the plane going to these other overseas countries more than I'm doing conferences here in the United States. The 11th of November, I'll be heading to the Middle East. I was supposed to do a huge international conference in Istanbul. This was big because this was one of those where they say they translate to everyone in the audience through earphones in their own language, just like they do in the UN. And it was going to be very big. But at the last minute, it was canceled because some of the speakers in the United States, and I won't mention their names, but some of them are very important speakers, are ill, and so they had to cancel the conference at the last minute. Well, that kind of messed up the rest of my trip. They're going to reschedule for next year, and I'm going to hope that I can work it into my schedule at that time, but who knows. But anyway, on the same trip, I've been asked to go to Dubai, so we were working it into the same trip. Well, the trip to Dubai is still on, and that's where I'll be going the 11th of November, and I'll be gone for about 10 days doing lectures, workshops, and one of my hypnosis classes in Dubai. And when they first had told me I was going to Dubai, I said, where in the world is that? Well, I went on the internet to find out. And oh boy, it's Saudi Arabia on one side and Iran and Iraq on the other side, and it sits right on the Persian Gulf. And I was thinking, I don't know if this is where I want to be or not with everything that's going on over there. But they said it's a part of the area that is called the United Arab Emirates, and it's a neutral country. That means it's not involved in any of the friction and the things that are going on in the other countries around it, in the Arabian countries. And they've told me that it's neutral and it's safe to go there, and I shouldn't have any problem. There are a lot of expatriates there. Those are former English citizens that live there, and they said they were starving for information, especially about the New Age metaphysical topics. So they wanted to know if I could come and talk about some of my books. And I said, while I was there, I might as well go ahead and give one of my classes because they are growing everywhere. And they said the people there all speak English, so I shouldn't have any problem. Interesting thing I found out about Dubai, they said as little as 30 years ago, in the 1970s, it was just desert communities. And they made their living with pearl fishing off of the Persian Gulf. But suddenly, in just the one generation, it has turned into one of the richest countries in the world. And it's a tremendous city. They said it is so large now, huge buildings. and that in one generation it has turned from a desert community to one of the richest places in the world. One of their things they're talking about is in March they have the richest horse race ever anywhere in the world. So I'm going to be going into a place that's different that I've never been before. So you can be sure that when I get back, I will tell everyone what kind of a trip it was. They said my workshop's going to be held in a villa out in the desert, so we'll see what happens. But to me this is exciting because I'm always being asked to go to more and more different places everywhere. Last May, the month of May, I spent the entire month in Europe. I always go back to England at least once a year. I have a big following there, and I do a lot of talks there. So I was in England, and I usually go to Spain because they translate one of my books every year. I have a wonderful publisher there. But this time in May, I went to Norway for the first time. A beautiful country. It's one of the cleanest countries I've been to. And the remarkable thing about it was it had such crystal crisp air there. And it was like there was no pollution. The sky was so beautiful. And everything just seemed to be so clean. So it was really a very nice place. But on this same trip, I got to go to more places that I had not been before. I went to the Ukraine, to Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine, because that's where my Russian publisher has his main office. My books are now in Russian, so I've had to go there. And from Kiev, I went to Moscow for the first time, and that is where my publisher has his branch office in Moscow. My books are now in about 20 different languages. This is one of the reasons why I travel constantly all over the world. You have to go to these places and lecture where they are, the books are available. And they are going to translate more of my books, so I'll be going back to Moscow and the Ukraine next March. We're already planning another month-long trip out of the country. And that's going to be interesting, too, because in March I'll be speaking at an international conference in New Delhi, India. And at that time, I will be able to do a tour of the Taj Mahal. So we try to get some sightseeing and some fun in with these trips anyway. But one thing that's interesting, when I do these lectures and workshops out of the United States in these countries where you have to use translators, I've gotten used to the translations of the lectures because it's a little time-consuming because you say one sentence and they repeat it after you and back and forth. They wanted me to do my group regression hypnosis workshops in these countries. The first time they wanted me to do it was in Spain, and I said, I don't know. When I do a group regression, I put the entire room under at one time. And I've done this with the most has been about 75 people. Well, I've done it with, 20, 25, 30 is usually the average. And when you do a group regression, everyone is laying on the floor with their pillows, and I put everybody under at the same time. And I take them into past lives. I take them to meet their guardian angels and get messages, and then I take them into the future. It's a very popular workshop, and everybody always loves it. But I didn't know, would it work with a translator involved? Because I'm so used to just talking and them listening to my voice. The translator, I thought it may be distracting, so I didn't know how it was going to work. So when I was in Barcelona, I told them, I said, this is an experiment. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I will try it. And amazingly, it worked beautifully. I told him, those of you who understand English, listen to me. The ones that understand Spanish, listen to the translator. But it worked beautifully, and we had the same results that I've had in any English-speaking country. And then last May, we did it with a translator in Norway, and then one in the Ukraine and in Russia. It worked every time. Something strange happened, though, when I was in Kiev, when we were doing this. The wife of my publisher was in one of the ones participating. Now, these people don't speak, they speak very, very limited English. She didn't speak any. And so they would have to listen to the translator in order to know the instructions as I guide them through the group regression. Well, afterwards, she was telling me through the interpreter that she was becoming angry because she said the young man who was doing the translating was distracting. She wanted to listen to me and my instructions, and he was distracting her. But I said, but you don't understand English. She said, I know, but something very strange was happening. While I was listening to you, I knew what you were saying, and I knew what to do, and I saw the pictures in my mind, and I got the same results. And even the interpreter said during one of the breaks, he said, they aren't listening to me, they're listening to you. Now, how can this be happening unless we're using a different part of the mind that seems to do what? Understand communication, be able to pick up on these things? Of course, in my work, so many strange things happen that I wonder why I even questioned it after a while. But it was strange to think they could understand and follow me without knowing English. So this is interesting. But when I do this in Dubai, they said, don't worry about it. They all speak English, and we're not going to have to use a translator. But it's like everywhere I go, there's more and more adventures, and things keep happening. So I wanted to bring that up anyway, because I will be traveling, and I'm trying to get as many programs taped so they can be played while I'm gone. Then when I get back, I'll be back to trying to do one a week, which will make it a little easier on me. But right now, I'm still in the beginning stages of giving the background, as I did last week, of what I do. And later, I'll be talking about the different books and the information in the books. Then, as we go along, I have many, many other authors that my company has published in the metaphysical field. And we're going to see if we can do interviews with them and talk to them, and you can meet all of these people and be exposed to their wisdom and the things that they have uncovered that we have decided to publish. My company is Ozark Mountain Publishing. I founded it in 1991, so we've been at it for quite a ways time now. But in the beginning, when I was first writing my books, I went the route of every other author. I had all of the things that could possibly happen to an author happen to me. I had my manuscripts were accepted many, many times, and at one time the publisher was almost killed and ended up in a hospital, and his whole publishing company went down the drain. Every time something would happen, I'd have to start all over again. And with the sending it out